Hey guys, Chris Honeycutt here with some more Thursday Thoughts. On this week's episode, we're talking about questions, the power of asking good questions. My mentor, John Maxwell, once said, "Good leaders ask great questions that inspire others to dream more, think more, learn more, do more, and become more." The right approach, if you're a leader, is not oftentimes giving directives, giving people information, giving people instructions. Certainly that is part of it to some degree, but it's often where you're asking them questions that they actually have to do a little bit of personal inventory, or they have to do some introspection. They have to actually develop an answer rather than have an answer. And so what that process accomplishes is actually you get people thinking. You know, thinking is somewhat of a lost art these days. We have information at our fingertips. We have smartphones. We have smart watches. Soon we're going to have smart eyeglasses, where again, AI will be involved and AI will tell us everything we ever need to know. But what gets lost in that process? Again, thinking, critical thinking, developing that approach of, you know what, we have a problem. Let's come up with a solution. I'm a 90s kid. I grew up in the 90s, and if you watched any sports back then, and it's still the case today, you're going to run into some beer commercials. This is not Chris Honeycutt endorsing beer, but this is where I remember clearly some of the zany, fun beer commercials oftentimes put out there by like Budweiser. And I remember there was a Bud Dry commercial one time. They used to have Bud Dry, Bud Ice, along with Bud Light and Budweiser. There's a million different Budweisers back then, but Bud Dry had a commercial series where the ads would say, "Why ask why? Drink Bud Dry."
Why can't they just love us for our minds?
Try Bud Dry. It's dry brewed, not watered down, to drink light yet satisfy completely. In fact, refreshment like this is almost...
The point that these commercials were making is stop asking so many questions. Just consume our product. We should be asking more questions of ourselves, asking more questions of our team, more questions of our leaders, more questions of our politicians. And questions are not in and of themselves a bad thing. Curious questions just to get information, they're innocent. The problem is questions have been used when we were growing up to belittle us, to make us feel small, to make us feel dumb. Questions have been used in the wrong way in our past. So maybe we're kind of shy about asking questions ourselves. We just go along with the flow. That is no way to grow ourselves. It's no way to grow our team. It's no way to get things done. We need to be asking more questions. Questions are not necessarily always to find solutions. So going back to AI, we have these little things called smartphones, and they're becoming more intrusive in our daily life every single day. We have all kinds of AI apps out there now, and now AI is going to be integrated into our search engines, into our iOS systems, Android systems, all that kind of stuff. What we're going to find is, while it's going to offer us more ease of access to information, we might become more dependent on them. The human element of all this is that we're growing and we're learning. And there's a difference between learning and consuming. We're great consumers. The plot line of the movie series The Matrix was all about human beings just being consumers and being plugged into this machine. When we get plugged into the machine, oftentimes we lose our human element. Think about it, all throughout history. I remember riding that big globe at Epcot, and you're learning about human development throughout history and how we developed writing and math, and how the printing press was there to actually print off Bibles, the Gutenberg Bible. And that actually helped human beings become more intelligent and more spiritual. And we were able to develop things because of our ingenuity. So what happens when that element is removed, that we have all this at our fingertips? Is it really a conspiracy theory to think that at some point we're going to be plugged into the machine ourselves? If you believe Elon Musk will have something called the Neuralink, and we'll have information feeding into our brain. And I'm sure that will never get abused and will always be for our benefit, right? Well, guys, one thing that is lost in all this is that so many times in our search for answers, we're unwilling to ask the questions. And this is where, when we want to be the right kind of leader, put out questions that are open-ended, questions that will draw out not only answers, but the process of learning and thinking, developing ideas. And that's what a leader should be doing. They shouldn't just tap into the resources of the human engines around them just for an answer, but rather to get them in motion, to get them thinking of new creative ways to solve their problems. These questions should not be designed to make you more paranoid or to drive down your self-confidence, but to make you become stronger, better. You need to be a leader that can ask the tough questions of himself before he asks tough questions of others. And when you do that, everything is lifted. Everything's elevated. Everything is moving upward. John Maxwell once said, everything worthwhile is uphill. An uphill battle is going to take a little bit more effort. An uphill battle is going to produce better results because you can go downhill pretty quick. So challenge yourself. Ask tough questions, because the person that you need to lead the most is yourself. That's it for Thursday Thoughts. Have a great day.